This adjective, according to the lexicons, could mean holy, sacred. Grammatical constructions or concepts are repeated in an inverted order, A, B. Exploring intertextual connections between two passages is also important in doing exegesis. Sometimes just like what I have said, biblical exegesis is a method to study the biblical text, and after that study, readers should be more confident in the interpretation of the Bible. The aim of a serious Bible study is to get a plain and clear understanding of a particular passage or pericope. And you know, the aim of a biblical exegesis of a particular pericope is to contribute to the understanding of other sections or themes of the Bible, and thus to contribute to the elaboration of a biblical theology. So, a section of the Bible should provide theological insights, a sort of synthesis relating the text to the central meaning of the Bible in light of God's intervention. In order to get the theological implication of a section in the Bible, we need to answer some questions. How was God revealed in this passage or section? How God is presented in this pericope or verse? What does the text say about God? What feature of God can we see in this pericope or verse? What principle can be established based on this text? How should the motive in this section be understood in light of the largest context? How should the text be understood today? I will provide a short example of theological insights as the result of the study of Colossians 1 verse 15 to 20, where Christ is presented as the divine creator. You know, Colossians 1 is a beautiful image of Christ's supremacy. And Paul gives support to that point by calling the attention of his audience to Christ as the creator of the universe. In short, Christ is God because He is the creator. Let's make a brief review of his argument. Paul says that Christ is incomparable because He is not only before everything, verse 17, but He is the creator of everything, verse 16. It is written, for by Him all things were created, in the first half of the verse 16. Notice that the emphasis in the sentence is on Him. And in the last half of the same verse, it is written, all things were created through Him and for Him. The same idea is expressed in a clear parallel. There is no other creator, nor some mystical power. Christ is a creator. The Greek expression panta translates as all things implied a totality of kinds of swords. By the way, John in the Gospel, another writer of the first century, points out the same idea. All things came into being through him. John 1:3. Christ is presented as the God who brings all things into existence, and it is emphasized by the double use of the verb "krizo." This verb is mostly referring to God's creativity, as it is used in the Septuagint and also in the pseudepigrapha. In addition, in verse 20, the text says, He creates everything in heaven and earth. There is no doubt that this is an allusion to Genesis 1:1. As many scholars refer to the expression heaven and earth, this is a term for referring to the entire universe, visible and invisible things. Christ is not the creation. He is the creator. The creation is subject to him. That idea is emphasized in verse 17. In him all things hold together. The expression "sunesteken," hold in English versions, can be translated as to bring into existence in an organized manner, or to come to be in a condition of coherence, to endure and to hold together. Thus, Paul presents Christ as a creator, and no one could deprive him of his primacy over all creatures. Therefore, he deserves glory and honor as God. In summary, amid of the popular philosophies and traditions of his time that challenged the faith of the church in the first century, Paul presents Christ and his preeminence over all creations because he is before everything and the creator of everything. In short, he is the incomparable creator. My friends, we arrived to the end of this class. I hope you have got some practical insights for doing biblical exegesis. If we approach the Bible with humility and with reverent and rational examination by using accurate methods and tools to explore the language of the text, we will get amazing rewards. If we study the Pentateuch, for example, we will get not only the words of Moses, but what Moses wrote about the Lord. Jesus said in John 5:46, "For if you believe Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me." I suggest that you study the Bible in a small section. Follow the simple steps I have suggested in this class. To summarize, please allow me to mention again the basic procedures for biblical exegesis. First, make a preliminary exploration of the pericope or the biblical section you plan to study. Second, prepare the historical background. And later, and perhaps the most important section, concentrate in the literary analysis and intertextuality, and highlight the theology of the passage. I hope the experiences of God's people during Nehemiah's time will be your own experience as you enter to study the Bible by using exegesis. They read from the book, from the law of God, translating to give the sense, so they understood the reading. Nehemiah 8:8. Thanks so much for your attention. See you soon.